Israel's devastating operation in Gaza, Palestinians are mourning its victims. Hamas supporters took to the streets of Gaza to mark the anniversary of the start of the war that lasted 3 weeks and claimed the lives of 1,400 Palestinians and 13 Israelis. Even now, the war and its aftermath remain largely ignored by the international community. Some say it's because there are double standards when it comes to accusing countries of war crimes, as Paula Sleer reports.
January this year, and Israel began Operation Cast Lead in Gaza, and nearly 12 months later, accusations of war crimes still hang over its army. Not surprising, according to Israeli lawyer Yoram Sheftel. He defended John Demanyuk, who stood trial in Israel for war crimes against Jews. In one of the country's most important cases, Sheftel convinced the judges Demanyuk was not the Nazi camp guard responsible for killing nearly 30,000 Jews in World War II. Sheftel is a controversial figure in Israel, but no one disputes he knows his law. He's convinced Israel won't have to answer charges of war crimes in front of the international courts for what it did in Gaza, a far cry from the reality of weaker states.
I dislike the idea that only nations like Serbia or Rwanda will be brought to The Hague. There is a lot of hatred against Serbia, which in a sense they earned quite rightfully. But again, they are a very weak nation politically.
It's a view echoed in Serbia, where for many years Liliana Smajlovic edited the country's leading daily newspaper, Politika. She says it's nothing more than politics. Powerful nations get away with murder, whereas weaker ones are held to ransom.
The countries that cooperate with international tribunals, I'm afraid, are countries that have to do so, because if they do not do that, they will not be allowed to integrate into the wider communities that they belong to. Countries such as Israel that cannot be blackmailed, that have U.S. support, they have no reason to cooperate.
After the former Yugoslavia disintegrated into war in the 1990s, Belgrade needed funds from Brussels to help recover. In addition to the millions of dollars it received, it's now hoping the European Union will give it $300 million more to help cope with the global economic crisis. But it comes at a price. Serb lawyer Goran Petronijevic believes that price is his client, Radovan Karadzic. Karadzic is standing trial in the Netherlands for war crimes he allegedly committed during the Bosnian War. Petronijevic says Belgrade handed him over to get closer to Europe.
Srpski narod.
International criminal courts have to exist, but the Hague Tribunal is more of an ad hoc court. The U.S. was one of its founders, but even it doesn't recognize it. Americans who commit injustice don't appear in front of the Hague, but are tried in their own country. When talking about Israel, unfortunately, Israel is connected with America, while Serbia is not.
But pressure is mounting against Israel after the United Nations published the Goldstone report. It says both sides, including the Israeli army, committed war crimes in Gaza. But it's nothing new. Over the years, there have been calls for Israeli army officers to stand trial. But so far, no one ever has. And whether one ever will depends as much on American support and world opinion as it does on whether or not the crimes actually took place. Paula Sleer, RT, Israel.